All right, so 12.2 is going to talk about arithmetic sequences and series. So an arithmetic sequence is found by adding the same number to each term. That number is called a common difference. So if you're given the first term and then you're given the difference, you can find anything. So here our first term would be 5. And to find that difference, we can subtract. So 9 minus 5 is 4. And if we wanted to double check, 17 minus 13 is 4. So our difference would be 4. So because it's plus 4, plus 4, plus 4, plus 4, it's an arithmetic sequence. A1 is how we refer to that first term. D is how we do our common difference. So if you wanted to find D, you pick any two terms next to each other and subtract. So negative 5 minus negative 7 is really negative 5 plus 7, which is 2. And if we did these ones, negative 1 minus, negative 3 would be negative 1 plus 3, which is 2. So our common difference is 2. Find the first 5 terms. Well, we are given the first term. And then if our difference is negative 3, 7 plus negative 3 is 4. 4 plus negative 3 is 1. 1 plus negative 3 is negative 2. And negative 2 plus negative 3 is negative 5. Now we have 5 terms. You try this one and then check in. So negative 12. If we add 5, we get negative 7. Add 5, we get negative 2. Add 5, we get 3. Add 5, we get 8. That's all you're doing to find terms in an arithmetic sequence. The nth term, so again, we're looking at some random general term, you are given a formula. This formula can be used, as long as you know parts of it, to find specific terms. So I'm going to write the formula up here, just so we have it in front of us. Okay, find term A13 and A sub n for this arithmetic sequence. So first we have to find D. So I'm going to pick 2. 5 minus 1 is 4. D equals 4. So now we're going to find A sub 13. So if we plug it in here, the first term is negative 3. That's in our sequence. N is 13, so n minus 1 is 12. And then the D is the 4 that we just found. Well, 12 times 4 is 48. And negative 3 plus 48 is 45. So A sub 13, or the 13th term, is going to be 45. A sub n, we just plug in what we know and reduce it. So A1 is still negative 3. N minus 1, we don't know n. And D is 4, so we're going to put that there. Let's distribute the 4. So we get 4n minus 4. I don't know where that other n came from. 4n minus 4. Combine like terms, and we get negative 7 plus 4n. So if we know what term we're looking for, we can figure it out just because using this formula. It's an explicit formula because we don't need to know the previous terms. So you try this one, or you can watch. So find A18 and AN when we know A2 and A3. So first we need to find our D. So because these are 1 apart, we can just subtract. 15 minus 9 is 6, so our D equals 6. Now we need to find A1. Well, if A2 is 9, we'd subtract 3 to get to A1. Or subtract 6 because the D. So if you think about it, you have something here. Plus 6 is 9. Plus 6 is 15. So if we subtracted 6, we'd get 3 for our first term. So if we do that, now we can use our formula. Remember, a sub n is a to the 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So if we're doing 18, a to the 1 we just said was 3. N is 18, so n minus 1 is 17. And we said d was 6, so we plug that in. 17 times 6 is 102. And 3 plus 102 is 105. So that's A18. You try AN. All right, so A1 is still 3. We don't know the n minus 1, but we do know 6. We can distribute that, combine like terms, and we get negative 3 plus 6n. So notice when we're looking for an n term, we have an n in our problem. All right, so using the information that I just did, this one's the next step up. Try it if you want, or you can watch. So we're given A8 and A16. So if we know term 8 is this, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then 16, we move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So whatever A8 is, we're going to add D 8 times, and we're going to get that A16. So negative 16 plus 8D, because we moved 8 times, is going to give us the negative 40, which they told us is our A16. Add 16 to both sides, and we get 8D equals negative 24. Divide by 8, our D is negative 3. So now we know that our D is negative 3. So if we start at A1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we know A8 is 16, to get from A1 to A8, we'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So A8 is whatever that A1 is, plus 7 times the D. Well, we know A8, and we know the D is negative 3 because we just found that. So now we can solve for A1. Add 21 to both sides, and we get A1 as 5. So we're just working backwards using what we know about arithmetic sequences. Now, remember what we said, a series is just all the sums added up. So if your sequence was 1, 2, 3, 4, the series would be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, and so on and so forth. S sub n is telling you to find the sum of the first n terms. There's formulas. You don't have to do this out, especially if you have 100 terms. That's crazy. So we're going to have these formulas. When you know the first term and the last term, you can use this one. N over 2, and then times the two terms added together. If you don't know the first term and the last term, you have to use this one. So those are the formulas. Again, you'll be given those, but if you don't know what S sub n or A sub 1 or any of that means, it's not going to help you. So let's try a couple. Evaluate S sub 12 for the arithmetic sequence. So ... we don't know the last term, so we're going to use this formula. Where'd it go? N over 2 times 2A sub 1 plus n minus 1 D. So we need to find D. So we're going to pick any two and subtract them. 7 minus 3 equals 4. So D is 4. They tell us S sub 12, so that means n is 12. And we're given the first term, so A sub 1 is negative 9, so we can plug those in. n is 12, so we do 12 over 2. A sub 1 is negative 9. N is 12, so 12 minus 1 is 11. And D is 4 because we found that. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. 2 times negative 9 is negative 18. 11 times 4 is 44. Negative 18 plus 44 is 26. And 6 times 26 is 156. So if you can't remember the formula or you don't know which one to use, you could do this out by adding 4, adding 4, adding 4 until you have 12 terms and then adding them up. There's ways to do it. The formula just makes your life easier. So let's try this one. Use a formula for S sub n to evaluate the sum of the first 60 positive integers. Well, the first integer is 1, 2, 3, and on and on and on, all the way up to 60. So we have 60 integers, so we're really looking for S sub 60. We know the first and last. We know the first is 1, and the last is 60, so we can use this equation. So we just said n was 60, so we can plug that in. And then a1 was 1, an was 60. Well, 60 divided by 2 is 30. 60 plus 1 is 61. And if you multiply those together, you get 1830. Could do it out on a calculator, would take a while, or you can use the formula. The choice is yours. You can also use the sum to work backwards and find your missing things. So, the sum of the first 17 terms is 187. So we know S17 equals 187. They tell us the last term is negative 17. We need to find A1 and the first term. So if we start with the formula using the first and last, we know most of this. So we can plug things in. So Sn is 187. They gave us that. N is 17 because we're looking for 17 terms. We don't know the first term, but we do know the last term. So we can plug those in. And now do the math out. So 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. Divide both sides by 8.5. And we get 22. Add 13 to both sides. And our first term is 35. So we've got that. Now we need to find D. So if we look at the other formula, is 2 times A1 plus n minus 1D, right? I just want to make sure. Yep. So our Sn is still 187. Actually, I want to do that in purple. Our n is still 17. We know A1 now. N minus 1. Well, 17 minus 1 is 16. And now we can work backwards. So 17 divided by 2 is still 8.5. 2 times 35 is 70. Divide both sides by 8.5. We get 22 equals 70 plus 16D. Subtract 70 from both sides. And we get negative 50. Or negative 48. 22 minus 70 is negative 48. Divide both sides by 16. And you get negative 3 equals D. So using those formulas, we can find the missing pieces. That works as well. All right. Summation notation still tells us how to use the formulas. We just have to find the first and last terms first. So here tells us the first term is 1. So we plug 1 in for I. So 4 times 1 plus 8 is 4 plus 8, which is 12. That's our first term. Our last term, we're going to plug 10 in for I. So 4 times 10 is 40, and 40 plus 8 is 48. And if we have I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we have 10 terms. So we're looking for S sub 10. So we do 10 over 2 times the first term plus the last term, which is 5 times 60, which gives us 300. You try this one. Okay, we're going to find our first term by plugging in 3. 4 minus 9 is negative 5. We're going to find our last term by plugging in 9. 4 minus 27 is negative 23. And then if we go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that is 7 terms. So we're going to use n equals 7. So S sub 7 is going to be 7 over 2 times negative 5 plus negative 23, which gives us 3.5 times negative 28, which gives us negative 98 as our sum. So using this sigma symbol again, that's telling us to use our S sub n formulas. That is 12.2. Let me know if you have any questions.